The next question is, can I create a rational reason to change? Like within my mind, can I come up with something that makes sense to me? To me, it has to have two qualities. It has to be doable, and it has to make sense. It has to be doable, and it has to make sense. I have a son. I have two sons, but I have a son who's 21 years old. His name is Sans. Now, Sans has got a problem. Sans' problem is that he can't wake up. He sleeps till 2 o'clock in the afternoon. He goes to college and takes courses at night because he just can't get up. But when I say to him, Sans, it's just a habit, it's just a thought. Don't tell yourself that. He said, Dad, you don't understand. It's just, I'm so tired, I just can't do it, I can't do it. So for his 21st birthday, his mother and I gave him a trip to Indonesia. Now, in this trip to Indonesia, he was going to go surfing. Now, Sans is all about surfing. He loves surfing. He lives and breathes surfing. He's on his computer checking the waves all over the world. This has been his life. When he was 4 years old, we gave him a surfboard. He paddled out. He stood up on it and rode all the way in. The very first time he was ever on a board. It's just in his blood. All right. So we sent him down to, as a gift, down to Indonesia, and where they have some of the finest surfing in the world. Okay, and down in Indonesia, they have a computer there, and they find out where the waves are, and there's eight guys from different parts of the world, and off they go to the various places where they surf, and they surf all day. He has to get up at 5 o'clock. He has no problem getting up at 5 o'clock. For 2 solid weeks, every morning it's up. Oh my God, this is great. We're going to find the waves. We're going to. This is. He's all over it. He gets back late at night. You know, it's 10 o'clock. They're reviewing it. They've got films because they take pictures of each other. And he gets to bed at midnight. He's up at 5, and he does this for 2 solid weeks because he has a rational reason to change. It has to be doable. It has to make sense. The last question I'd like to talk about here is, how do I continuously reinforce this new way of being? So that you've asked yourself, is it true? You decide that it came from you. You understand the payoffs. You look at your life from a new perspective, which is, what would my life look like without it, and how would I feel? And you begin to access divine guidance in doing it. And now you start doing ways of reinforcing this new you. You get back to nature. You have a conversation with your subconscious mind. I do it all the time. I hold hands with it. I do. I take it on the beach, and I walk, and I start talking to it. Why are you giving me that same old crap again and again? And you begin to talk to these habits, and you get back to nature. You do things that make you more peaceful. You do things like yoga, and you have the most important thing. One of the great teachers in my life is here in the audience tonight. Her name is Louise Hay. She's sitting right there, and I love her so much. She never said she was too old. She started become a writer at the age of 61. And today, at the age of 82, is the CEO of one of the largest publishing house in the world on spiritual and higher consciousness material at the age of 82. So, and she, in her book, You Can Heal Your Life, she has always talked about it for years before anybody else would, about the power of affirmations, right, Louise? I mean, it's just always, you have to affirm it. And so what I've done is I've taken the 18 excuses, and I'd like to summarize that and give you affirmations that are in harmony with this new excuses be gone paradigm. So if you take the first one, it will be difficult. That's an excuse. An affirmation that counteracts that is, I have the ability to accomplish any task I set my mind to do with ease and comfort. Why not? Why not affirm that, even if it may or may not be true? But if you affirm it, then at least it will lead you to where you want to be. It's going to be risky. Becomes, being myself involves no risks. It's my ultimate truth, and I live fearlessly. How many times have I heard you say that, Louise? I live fearlessly. It will take a long time as an excuse becomes I have infinite patience when it comes to fulfilling my own destiny. I have infinite patience. There will be family drama becomes I'd rather be loathed for who I am than loved for who I am not. I don't deserve it becomes I am a divine creation, a piece of God. How can I be undeserving? Why would God ever create something that doesn't deserve everything? It's not my nature becomes my essential nature is perfect and faultless. It is to this nature that I return. I can't afford it becomes I am connected to an unlimited source of abundance. No one will help me becomes the right circumstances and the right people are already here and will show up on time. And you affirm that over and over. It's never happened before becomes I am open and willing to attract all I desire being here and now. I'm not strong enough becomes I have access to unlimited assistance. My strength comes from my connection to my source. I'm not smart enough becomes I am a creation of the divine mind. All is perfect, and I am a genius in my own right. I'm too old or I'm not old enough becomes I am an infinite being. The age of my body has no bearing on what I do or who I am. The rules won't let me becomes I live my life according to divine rules. It's too big becomes I think only about what I can do now. By thinking small, I accomplish great things. I don't have the energy becomes I feel passionately about my life, and this passion fills me with excitement and energy. It's my personal family history becomes I live in the present moment by being grateful for all of my life experiences as a child, all of them. I'm too busy becomes as I unclutter my life, I free myself to answer the callings of my soul. And finally, I'm too scared becomes I can accomplish anything I put my mind to because I know I'm never alone. I'm never alone. You write these down. You place them in strategic places around your house. You put them on the refrigerator. You put them on the dashboard of your car. You affirm them. Much research now is being done on the power of being able to just say the affirmation. Then I recommend you go to the feeling that accompanies that and go off to sleep with it and watch. Do it for a few weeks, night after night after night, and you will set into motion all the synchronistic events and people and circumstances that you need to fulfill your destiny. I'd like to end this program on Excuses Begone with a story. It's a story I heard many, many years ago, and I've never forgotten. It's a story of an older woman who lived by the side of a river up in the mountains, the Himalayas. And she was a divine soul, and she carried with her bread in a sack. And one day, she was sitting by the edge of the river where she lived, and as she was looking at the riverbed, she noticed a precious stone. Not just any precious stone, but a precious stone like this, big. And she picked it up and realized that with this precious stone and its value, she would have a lock on abundance and prosperity for the rest of her life. Such was its value. And as she was sitting there, she put the stone back in her bag, and a man, a traveler, an itinerant traveler, came along and noticed her sitting by the edge of the river. And he asked her, he said, "I'm hungry, I've had nothing to eat. Could I have something to eat?" She said, "Of course." And she reached into her bag, and she took out a crust of bread and handed it to him. As she did this, the traveler noticed the precious stone gleaming. And he said to her, "I'd like to have that. Could I have that, please?" And she said, "Of course." And she reached into the bag and she handed it to him. Now he knew, being poor, that this was the answer to the success he had always wanted, and the abundance and the prosperity, and he left. And the next day he came back. And he talked to the woman. He said, "I'm giving you this stone back." He said, "But I would like you to give me something even more precious than this stone." And she said, "What would that be?" He said, "I would like you to give me what you have inside of you that allowed you to give me that stone." And that's the message of Excuses Begone. God bless you. Namaste. Thank you.